Okay, guess what? It's late. So I might be just completely incoherent, uh, but we gotta do some extra stuff for building out the prompt, and we gotta build out the. I'm trying to say. Oh, I'm gonna build up the knowledge base. So let's go ahead and build out the prompt right now. Um, I'm going to be working with AI to make the backend logic work for founder PR users to be able to pitch a journalist. Here's how the backend logic will work. Okay, we need that there, but we'll do double me in a second. And so back in user stories. So we're essentially going to use this right here, which I just wrote. Give it context. You help me create a prompt for the AP. Server. All right. So we're going to set to that, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to say, oh, hold on, prompt. Okay. Then we're going to come over here. We're going to start build out the knowledge base. So, best startup tips for cold pitching a journalist for coverage. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take all this information and we're going to feed it essentially. See, it's kind of funny. There are so many times where like some of the stuff I think of, like right, okay, so let me take you through like what's happening in my brain right now, okay? So I know that now have to go through each one of these links, copy and paste into this document. So then I can export this document, then re-upload it back into ChatGPT and say, hey, build a knowledge base based off of all of these expert tips for founder PR to have kind of like the best well-rounded approach to cold pitching a journalist is essentially what I'm going to say. But how easy would it be to just use hyperbrowser, which I'm already using, so I might actually do this, to just or not hyperbrowser, but yeah, use hyperbrowser and essentially create a whole nother product that's just for people doing research. Jeez, man. I mean, this stuff like writes itself because I'm like every single thing, all these products that I'm building are generally speaking something that I've had to do as a founder in a previous life, something I've had to do for founders as an investor or manager of a startup studio, or something I've had to do for teams when I was an operator and on teams. That's most of the products that I'm building. That's what founder PR is for. Is because I've had trouble getting PR because it's a arduous process that I need to be. This right here is the same thing. I would love to go to all these Google links and just copy and paste them into like some interface and then say, all right, go to every single one of these URLs, scrape all the content, and then build a knowledge base for me to then put into like ChatGPT or something like that. And that's how like most of these kind of ideas come from. Um, Let me use some of this stuff. What's funny is that AI has come so far because I used to just save all this stuff. I used to right click and then save all this stuff to like Pocket back in the day, but now it's Reader. Anytime I wanted to learn a lot about a specific thing in a very fast amount of time, I would save like 40 articles on Google. And then I would spend like 3 hours just learning them, like basically skimming and scanning through, highlighting things. And I would take those highlights and then I would go back and read them. So that's another reason why neuro um, neuroveneer is going to be so interesting because I'm going to be able, with the product that I built, again, another problem that I had, I'm going to be able to go into my Roam and export everything I've ever highlighted and then put that into a codex. And then I can query every single thing that I have ever highlighted. Well, since I had Pocket or since I joined Roam, which I joined Roam like 8 years ago or whenever it first launched. So it was 2018, right? Year is it? 7 years ago? Wow, that's crazy. So no, 2019. I think they launched like right before COVID or like at the early stages. And so having like neuroveneer is just something that I wanted for myself because I've been wanting to like query all of my highlights all at once, but I wanted a platform to do that for me. And so, anyways, that's kind of how all this kind of stuff usually comes about. Is it's usually a problem that I have myself. Um, and so I'm kind of dragging it right now, but we're gonna essentially like it's gonna be. I mean, I think it's cool because I never had this before. Because now I can come in here and basically like just take raw information and then download it as PDF, and then all of a sudden I have a startup PR expert like in my back pocket. So I think that's interesting. But this is kind of like the work that I do. Sometimes I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stick with articles right now. Um, because it's a little bit easier. This is someone that wants you to write their pitch. And that is why you need multiple things because this is going to have, like, a lot of this stuff is going to have stuff that is not really relevant. So it's going to have too much fluff in it. Here, let's change this color so I know where I'm at. Okay. There's so many things out there. Like why is there not an application that automatically helps you negotiate term sheets? See, this has a lot of fluff, and that's what I really don't need. See, if I was using hyperbrowser, I'd be like, ignore all this stuff that it also pulled in, but you can't just copy text. You have to copy the whole page. So I just have to like get rid of like my annoyance in how it'll look. It's going to have a lot of links that I don't need. It's going to have a lot of images that I don't need, but that's kind of not the point. The point is to give ChatGPT as much information as I possibly can, and then kind of let it deal with the fallout of what that burden is to hold all that information all in its head. And by the way, it can do this. I don't want y'all to think that it can't do this already. Like ChatGPT can totally do this. It has essentially the whole internet in its brain. However, sometimes it's easier to just create like a very specific use case for it to kind of narrow all of its focus down into one thing. Because I feel like in my experience, you can guide it a bit more in the ways that you need it to be guided. And right now, I needed to be really focused on cold pitching people, journalists specifically. and through the lens of a startup founder. Like that's also like really important because like it wouldn't be helpful to like a nonprofit. Like this tool's not going to be helpful for a nonprofit manager. Just gonna take this real quick, and we could add more. I already saved this. So I might even like, and you know what's so funny? Like I've found this because I mean, like you all know that one of the things about AI is like if you if it's not like the more data that it gets ingested into it, the better it can be. That's why we want all of the articles that that journalist has written that someone would be interested in. It's also why we want so much information on the front end about the company so that we can really get deep in how we personalize the pitch for them. And so I just created a custom GPT to like write some of the articles and stuff I have. So I'll just talk for 5 to 10 minutes about some concept that I really like am enamored by. And what's been interesting is like it actually writes and speaks like me. But the only reason it does that because I've tried to create custom GPTs on helping me write and turn my stuff into real kind of stuff that I would normally sound when I write tweets or LinkedIn messages or articles, and it can never get it quite right. So what I ended up doing was I spent a few hours downloading basically or like to like doing what I'm doing right now for all of the tweets that I really liked, all of the articles that I really like that I've written, and all of the LinkedIn posts that I've written that I really like, and put it into a custom GPT. So even though ChatGPT had all this context of the entire internet of how to go viral and write the best stuff, it still couldn't sound like me. And I think that's what's happening a lot of times. I think it's a lot of people who like are using platforms that say that they use AI, but the platforms aren't like but the platforms aren't but the platforms aren't doing like what I think they should be doing or what most people might think they should be doing, which is handling like the human side of things. That's why you have so many people going like, "Oh, I can totally tell when AI writes it." And it's like, I mean, you can probably get close, but for the most part, if it learns your pattern, it's kind of like someone who learns your signature and can forge it because they practice so much. That's essentially what you're doing when you upload like all of your content that you've ever written is you're essentially teaching AI to forge your signature when it comes to content. And I think people overlook the time that it takes to do stuff like this. Like what I'm doing now is building out at 11:27 p.m. a knowledge base, or at least the raw data aspect of a knowledge base, so that um, dude, how big was this page? Was this one of those things that I don't know how big it is? No, okay. Yeah, it would not copy this page at all. Okay. They say you can't. They said none of that. I wonder if I can do it from here. No. How did you even? Huh? It's pretty funny. But it's just tips for. And by the way, I'm using this because I'm building a ton of different products, as you all are well aware. And I want, just like I want Double Me to like make outbound calls and have inbound calls and handle that kind of stuff. And just like I want the the Reddit DM product to like help me with consumer products that I want to build and getting the word out. Like this is hopefully going to help me get press for some of the stuff that I want to do. And like back in the day when I figured out tricks like this, like with Zapier, and I mean Zapier now has interfaces, but let's face it, it's not really like a consumer friendly way of like doing it. Like I would never like if someone said, "Oh yeah, you can use my Zap, it's awesome," but it's through this like janky interface that doesn't have a custom domain and all these other things, I probably wouldn't use it. But now I'm basically building stuff for me and then saying to everyone else, "Hey, you're welcome to use it. I built it for me, but like you can borrow it if you want, or better yet, you can borrow it and pay me for it if you want," which is essentially what I'm doing. I'm letting someone rent my car because they really need it. Um, I'm just charging them a little bit of money. Okay. Yeah, but I think like this is going to be a really good. I think this could be like a really good article. It has a lot of images. I didn't realize how many images would be on a website. Yeah, I know, dude. I know you can't take all these images. I wish I could delete all the images, to be honest. Okay, so I'm at 447 pages. Probably most of that is images. Let's get to 500 pages and then see if I need to go back and delete all these images, which would be awful because the images are going to make this. The images are what's going to make this PDF like be too big because it's not all text. Which is why a smart person would have done the copy and paste and then paste as text. But what's the fun in like being smart? Just thought of that. I'm like, why are all these images in here? Like I should just paste it as text. Or yeah, paste that formatting. Oh, okay. I can't really paste as text. Cool. At least I don't feel as dumb because it wasn't even possible. Okay. Am I at 500 yet? Yeah, a lot of images. Okay, am I at 500 yet? Yeah, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. It's brought down to 387, so there's some large text in there. Lost about 200 pages. All right, I'm really nervous about Yeah, I'm really nervous. So we'll see what happens. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm gonna want a much better, get a more detailed and thorough prompt to give to the API. This is great start, but it is not as intensive and comprehensive as what I'm looking for to get the best results from a journalist that I possibly can for my users. Another thing that I think that this could be useful for is like public relations agencies. I haven't gone into like what that would look like to like generate pitches this way, because I'm sure they have their own way of doing it. This thing is down so often now. I think it's like looking at Sam Altman's tweets. It's because um, of everything that's happening. Because they rolled out the image creation, which I haven't even used yet, and apparently it's so hot that they are struggling with the demand. So I don't know why I'm using O3 Mini High. Didn't you just like mess up my code for the last 5 days? Yeah, the next video is actually gonna be. Hopefully, I'll have an extra. It's 11:35. Hmm. Okay, take it for now. All right, let's go back here. So this is gonna be prompt. So let's go here. That's 17 megabits. Is crazy. Okay, founder PR. Okay, can you use the attached PDF to create a space to use for calling the OpenAI API in the founder PR application? All right, let's see what happens. So essentially, hopefully, it's going to take the 381 stuff, the pages that I just put in, and it's going to create like, but it might have pulled in all the project files and not just the project file I just gave it. Interesting. Okay, it went a different way than I'd hoped it would. Okay, so I'm gonna go out and then I'm gonna delete that because I don't need it. And then I'm gonna go into this one. I'm gonna say thanks for that. Here is a PDF of all the great tips for pitching a journalist that I believe be helpful for creating or writing new drafts of pitches for founder PR users, combining the prompt you wrote of with the knowledge base would be incredible. Can you turn the PDF into a thorough, thorough, detailed knowledge base that the OpenAI API could use alongside the prompt to create pitches that not only get responses for our users, but also get them coverage. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, by the way, the next video I'm gonna try and do a double me video because the Coda exports to PDF. So, and I just exported all my documents because, like I said, I'm gonna try and do a meeting at the beginning of the month with investors using my double and not me because I don't think that they're being serious. So I don't want to waste my time, and I'd love to hear what they have to say, but like I don't need to be in that meeting. So downloaded the 150,000 words of PDFs, and I think I can upload it to 11 labs. I'm not sure, but we're gonna see because it might 125,000 words might be a little too much for like 11 labs. Essentially saying that it didn't use enough data points. Like I uploaded 381 pages, and like this is stuff that I could have literally asked it. I could have just asked it to give me this stuff. The PDF where experts use their hard-won wisdom and experience to write those articles that were in the PDF. Yeah, so I like wanted to actually like build it in something that's serious. You're not gonna be able to do that, but hmm, 50 search. Hmm. Okay, so we're gonna take this. Oops, we're gonna take this, and we're gonna take the detailed one, and this is what's actually gonna be our knowledge base. So now we don't need those 381 pages. We now can hone in on creating like a really amazing um, knowledge base. We have one article in the articles table. Understand what they to topics they have written out before, which you can find the topics in the articles tab for articles that are written by the journalists. I really want to test out double me. So I'm trying to zip through this probably faster than I should be. Yep. Yep. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Stories and chat completions. Yeah, I'm gonna use this. Use that because we don't have their social. I can use that either. either. We're gonna need that. So that's something we might add to the list of questions. Like we might pull that up right now. Just add that to the list of questions for the company. So we can go like we know a little bit about what we probably want the journalists to hear about from us. So we might say on the my company page and the following questions for founders fill out. Update the database schema to match the added questions so that when the users of FNDRPR add their answers to the questions, it goes into the correct fields in the database. Guess what, dude? Where is the My Company tab? Come on, bro. I just said slide it over. I didn't say delete it. Jeez Louise. Let's do this. So based on what this says, we need to also know um, world about is there an upcoming something in your that could opportunity for your company are optional. So we're essentially mapping out what makes a great pitch from journalists into the questions that we're going to ask founders to answer. So, hopefully, We obviously asked for their name, right? Hmm. Okay, okay. Hmm. 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 Is there that is already in play? Not is there a potential? What you are building ever been done before? If yes, why are we different? If no, then do you know it's possible? Yeah, we're gonna triangulate like one of the best. Remix first. Okay, okay. I don't think we need any of these things like following up. However, we do need for a common narrative, it's a real use case, contextual spam. And that's going to be helpful for the AI. Yep, don't claim. Yep, that's going to be helpful. Don't need that information. Okay, don't need that information. They're going to send it whenever they want. Okay. Okay. All that's going to be helpful for the knowledge base. Cool. All right, so we got that. Now let's go back up to the prompt. Okay. All right, let's use that as the prompt for now. Okay, cool. All right, that's it. Perfect. Wow, how long was this video? It feels like I've been on this for 45 minutes. I feel like I've been doing this for a bit. All right, would like to work on double me? Yep, 45 minutes on the dot. That's crazy. That's how many of these I've done. I can now just feel how long it's